So you're considering using Instagram for your business in 2025 and beyond, but you don't want to be a constant content creator, lifestyle influencer, or just a vlogger? Then this video is for you. I want to address a big question that comes up for a lot of business owners who may have been doing Instagram marketing previously and found that they don't want to keep doing it the same way, or they're considering integrating it into their overall digital marketing strategy, but they want a more grounded approach on how to do it in a way that feels ethical and also makes sense for them. The biggest thing that we see as an issue when we're looking at Instagram marketing or TikTok marketing or any kind of social media marketing is this predominant culture around being somewhat of an influencer or a content creator. And there tends to be a more negative connotation around this because the trends that we see are very much focused on hype, on scarcity, on urgency, or needing to promote a certain type of lifestyle or character. Now, all of this is by no means wrong or bad or any of those types of things, but it's understanding for yourself and for your business what role social media plays in your life. And if you are somebody whose primary goal is to be a content creator, to be a vlogger, or to be an influencer, then you're using the platform exactly as how it's designed. But if you're a service provider, a digital e-commerce brand, a person running some sort of business that your main goal isn't to just generate content and generate revenue from content views and watch time, it's important to consider how you're using these platforms and what your relationship to them is. Now, I had a really interesting conversation earlier today with one of our students who had shared similarly their disdain or their distrust or their frustration with Instagram and not really knowing how to interact with the platform again, because in the past they've been taught to use the platform specifically for sharing their life, dumping all of this content on there, trying to create really trendy or viral content, and it can feel really exhausting, especially if your main goal is not to be an influencer. So then the question becomes, okay, well, how do we then use this platform that serves a specific purpose and builds the business in the way that we want without burning us out? The first thing that we need to understand is what's the purpose of Instagram if we're not being a content creator or an influencer or a vlogger. The main goal of Instagram in the bigger scope of what you do for your business is to focus on nurturing community, building community, maintaining connection with that community, and building brand awareness. That means that the main goal isn't necessarily just focusing on lead generation and lead acquisition. Instagram gets to be more of the place where you connect with your community and it grows organically and naturally, not so much the place where you're trying to do all of the selling and do all of the client enrollment or client acquisition. Because if that is the case where you're using Instagram as the sole means of everything for your business, and we're talking Instagram here, but you can apply this to any other platform, then you're in a little bit of a problem there because you're setting yourself up to be running a content creator style business, and that probably isn't what you actually want. So you have to, again, recognize the whole system of what you're building so you can understand how this one piece fits into it rather than overly relying on one platform to become your whole business. I cover this pretty extensively inside of the Build to Scale guide on how to escape the algorithm. It's a free guide. If you haven't downloaded it yet, make sure you download it by clicking the link in the description down below. It will walk you through the 7 steps and the 3 different stages that we cover on how you go from being somebody stuck in the content creator hamster wheel into creating a business that's actually built to scale. Now, for the context of this video and understanding how to rebuild your relationship with Instagram, it's recognizing that Instagram is not just about lead generation, lead acquisition, and sales. It can play a role in that, but it's really meant to be more of a place where you continue to nurture the community you already have. So if you're a service provider who is either a health coach or a nutritionist or a functional medicine practitioner or a therapist or a photographer, the goal with that platform is to help share your work, show what's possible, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's where people are finding you unless you're driving things like paid traffic to your account. So the content that you're creating on Instagram becomes more about maintaining the relationship, sharing updates, staying connected with, versus trying to just go viral. If the goal is virality and the goal is to grow the audience with the content you're creating, then you're starting to step into a little bit of a different relationship with the platform where you're relying on it more so for lead generation versus brand awareness. and brand awareness more so through the lens of continuing to nurture the relationships of the people that are already there and it growing organically. Now, this can feel frustrating, especially if you're a business owner who is just starting out, or maybe you don't have the amount of traffic, leads, clients that you're looking for. And so again, it's important to understand the full picture of your digital marketing strategy so that you're not missing out on opportunities to grow the business more strategically and more sustainably by overly relying on one platform. So if you are using Instagram as a service provider and the goal isn't to go viral, the goal is not to be a lifestyle influencer, the next question becomes, what kind of content am I creating? And the answer to that is fairly simple. It gets to be more educational content that's just focused on what it is that you do. And I made a point to one of the students in their program today saying, your content gets to be boring. It doesn't need to be this outlandish, viral, hilarious, super entertaining content. It can just be very direct and straightforward micro pieces of education if your business is serving a specific purpose of solving a specific problem. If you're a service provider where you are directly delivering said service, your content gets to just be micro components of that. And it doesn't have to be something that you're constantly creating new content on. If the goal of Instagram is to just maintain a sense of relevancy, so you're building the community there, then it gets to be something where you get to slow down the cadence and the rhythm because you're not solely relying on Instagram organic content to build your business. You want to understand the role that it plays and then change your relationship to the platform so you can use it in a way that better supports the whole business. Now, again, if you are looking at how you're going to acquire new leads, grow your audience, grow your list, then that's where we need to have a different conversation. Because if you're just relying on creating content and content being the main strategy, then oftentimes it's setting yourself up for failure because you're going to have to dive into the content creator game in order to make that work. If you are curious about how to do this, like I mentioned before, make sure that you download the free Built to Scale guide on how to escape the algorithm. The link is down below. It'll walk you through this step by step. If you want to go deeper into that, there's a free training that comes with the guide that will go into all of this in much more detail so you can see exactly how all of the pieces fit together. If you're curious about learning more and maybe even working with myself and the company, we have a membership program called Built to Scale, which you can join at as low as $97 per month, and it's a month-to-month membership subscription, meaning you can come in and you can choose to check it out, try it, and if you don't love it, you can cancel, or you can choose to stick around for as long as you'd like. And that's where we really go into a lot more depth on understanding how these different components of your digital marketing strategy, your client delivery, your operations, your sales process all tie together to create a more sustainable and scalable business. If you're curious, you can learn more at sassandSEO.com/membership. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, as always, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date for future videos. And if you have questions or comments about future content you'd like to see, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we hope to see you in future videos, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye, y'all.